Welcome to The Audacity, the podcast by women for women, and of course, anybody else brave enough to listen. We love you all. Welcome one, welcome all. I am Lisa. I'm joined by my amazing, incredible co-host, Sovereign Woman, and Gwen.
Hello, hello.
Howdy.
Always good to see you ladies. I like how we're all kind of matching today. There's like definitely kind of a unified theme going on here. And our main topic of discussion today is going to be consent. That has been a highly requested topic by many women, and I do think that it is very, very worth dissecting on like a macro and micro level. And I'm very excited for that conversation because I think a lot of women will feel very validated by what consent really is versus what we have kind of made it as a society. Like we've really muddled all of the boundaries, all of the definitions. It's very upsetting. Please make sure that you follow us on all platforms. We have a Patreon where we put out extra content. Most of it is not paywalled though, so please do hop on in there if you're able. There's free tiers. You can just tip us like $1 a month, or you can sign up for some of the other tiers that give you access to certain chats and certain other content that does stay paywalled. All right, but before we get into our main segment, let's have some tea, ladies. I know that Gwen had some tea regarding the Epstein files, so let's get into that.
I just like how lately everybody's been keeping their foot on Trump's neck about the Epstein files, and they should, because they campaigned on that. They were like, if you vote for me, I will release the Epstein files. And it's like, I think even half those people who voted for him knew by now that like he was all over those documents, and they still voted for him. So he really just has no excuse to not release them, but he's just not going to do it. And it's funny to me because I keep seeing these videos of these like right-wing conspiracy theorists like Alex Jones like crying because they won't release the files, and there's just it's indefensible. And Candace Owens is like saying this isn't the Trump that I originally thought he was, or like something along those lines. And it's just so funny because I'm like,
embarrassed.
What do you mean?
I'm so embarrassed.
It's like, who would have known that like a con man would have conned you? Who could have seen that coming? Really. But, you know, I hope that they still use their platforms to keep their foot on his neck, because this is something that they should, you know, at least keep somewhat of a promise on, because everything else they, you know, were hands off on. They were not going to follow through with any of these other promises. But the one thing that they could have is the Epstein files. And if not the files, then the flight logs. I do think those should be released because I like everybody else, I want to know who else went to that island, like the celebrities, the billionaires, the whoever. Like I just want to know.
A celebrity's names being on the file or on the manifest or whatever, would that because to me that doesn't automatically mean that they're guilty of anything. The only way that it would make them guilty is if they had prior knowledge that this is this type of island, these things go on at this island. Anybody who would want to go there at that point, to me, would be guilty.
You're speaking as like the average person though, but like most celebrities have the money to just go to Fiji or.
My thing is they got on a plane called the Lolita Express, and that plane, you know what I mean? Like
what is that?
Right. Lolita is it's a term used to mean like young girl, young child. And it's also a book by Nabokov. And it just talks about, you know, a little girl
about like grooming and
so then that changes things. Okay.
Yeah.
So now I get it. Okay.
But you asked a question off air that I do think is like kind of valid when you were like, does anybody still care about the Epstein like files or whatever? And I think that's a valid question, because we wouldn't have to care about these files if we just believed women in the first place. Like so many women have come out and under oath testified that either, you know, they were assaulted by these people, or that they were trafficked, or that they paid money to do something, but then they were like blackmailed that, oh, well, we're going to tell everybody that you're a prostitute or whatever unless you bring more little girls to be exploited and trafficked. So like women have already been coming out and saying this stuff, and men only want to believe some like weird flight logs or like some documents or whatever. It's like, believe women. Like women have been out here. For so many women to come out and accuse one or both of these men of like misconduct and of like assault and everything like that, it's like we're literally like, oh yeah, anyway, release the logs. Like, okay. And that would take care of the whole like who did what thing, because yes, Epstein did use wealth to sort of try and make it seem like he was a philanthropist. I mean, the whole Bill Gates excuse of why Bill Gates flew to the island was, oh, well, Jeffrey wanted to donate all this money and stuff like that. It's like, William, you are one of the richest men on earth.
Not
like,
William.
What do you mean? You were literally like, oh, this man might give me some money. Let me fly to his private island on a jet called the Lolita Express. Like,
insane.
I don't know.
See, I didn't know about the name, so that I mentally detached from all of this when it first happened. And I hate to say this, I really do, but I honestly think that even if the names were ever released, it's not going to make a damn bit of difference. Nope. Nobody's going down. Nothing's going to happen. So that's kind of why there's a part of me that don't care. And I'm not saying that I don't care what happened to the women and the children that got exploited. I'm not saying that at all. But I just know what kind of world we live in. And I know what kind of society this is. And I know what happens when you're rich. So and there's nothing I can do. I don't have any power. I can't snap my fingers and make this all go away. So I have to protect my peace. So that's why I've mentally just detached from the whole Epstein thing. Like I'm
shade.
I'm
Absolutely.
Sorry.
But that's exactly why they should be released.
Yeah.
Because nothing would happen to them. But it would still let people know like who not to associate with. So I think that would be enough for women to at least see.
I'm afraid it would normalize it instead. I'm afraid it would be like, well, everybody did it. So that means everybody does it.
That's exactly what's going to happen,
like,
Lisa.
That's why what I'm afraid of.
Because anybody who's been doing fuck shit, they're going to get exposed at a later time for a different reason anyways, in my opinion. It's only a matter of time for most people. So it might not be the Epstein files, but it's going to be 5 years from now. Some woman's going to come out the woodworks and say, hey, blah, 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 did this to me. And then it's going to be to each person that was on, something's going to happen somewhere. What they say, what's done in the dark will always come to the light sooner or later.
Exactly.
So that's my view about it.
I just think that like there is something so dastardly and diabolical that is in those files that other than names that they don't want people to know.
I agree.
Because I think if it was just names, purely just the names in a little black book, then
I'm
I
sure
think
it's way
it wouldn't
more
be
worse than
as
that.
much of a big of a deal. I think it's just going to be one of those things.
I'm
where
sure
it's
a
so
list of
insidious
blackmail shit next to everybody's name of what they've done. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure it's a whole dark.
I think it's specific. Like
the fact that he had that
Yeah.
picture of Bill Clinton in a dress at his house, like a painting of Bill Clinton in a dress. No, that's like confirmed. That lets you know something. Like that lets you know I keep the secrets of the most powerful people. Like you have no idea what I know.
Insane.
Because I can sit here with this painted photo of Bill Clinton, who is like my friend. Everybody knows us as friends. And yet this is what I have in my house. Like, I think it's like a little bit of both of what y'all are saying, because it's like on the one hand, if it was just names and if we just released it, it would in fact probably normalize it. Just like the Me Too movement. Like the more women came out, almost the more that the movement became discredited and people were saying, oh, now every woman has been like assaulted. Yes. Well, in fact, yes.
Most women have.
In fact, ask
Like-
most women and yes.
Yeah.
Okay. But like we live in a world that attempts to draw attention away from that. And that's how we discredit women. It's like, oh, if there's something that happened to too many women, that means it didn't happen at all. It means all the women lied. And it's like, no, in fact, it means the opposite. But on the other hand, the fact that this man literally ran on, I'm going to release these files. I'm going to like expose everybody. And it turns out that he in fact ran and won on this platform so that he could bury it. That is crazy work. Like,
he was never, Donald Trump never had any intentions on releasing this Epstein
That's
files.
the 3D. That's
the crazy
4D
part.
chess that they're talking about. And it's like, he played that shit on you. Like, he played that shit on you. He convinced you he was running to release these files.
Absolutely.
And instead, he's literally like, who? Are you guys talking about my bestie, Jeff? Oh, that whole hoax? Yeah, like, this is crazy. They should have released it sooner. And like, da-da-da. It's like, why don't you release it
He
then?
was never going.
He really called y'all stupid.
Y'all listen. He was never going to release those files. He said what he needed to say to get elected. And ding, 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 dong dummies literally voted for him because they thought that they were going to get, these people voted their own health care away, for Christ's sakes. He called them uneducated. He said, I love the uneducated. And they're all laughing and cheering. And he's like, no, dummy. He's talking about y'all. He thinks you guys are fucking stupid. Which you proved him right in real time. But at the end of the day, he was never going to release those files ever. He wanted to get in there and cover up whatever he needed to cover up. But he wasn't going to be able to do that without being the commander-in-chief. He had to get back in the White House. He had to get back at that level in order for him to hide it. Now, all of a sudden, the Epstein files isn't real. That's fake.
Democrat hoax.
Really?
Yeah.
And then
Wow.
the fact that
amazing.
people still believe, I just can't, y'all.
No, people are finding ways to justify it now too. And it's like, that's always going to happen. There's going to be people where the boot is like so far down their throat that they just can't like stop gagging on it. Like they can't. Yeah, exactly. You're just not, you're never getting rid of that boot. It's always going to be there. It's
imprinted in your throat for life.
No, seriously. You're just always going to sound like you're gagging a boot no matter what. Yeah, well, that is tea for sure. And I love that he's even been caught saying like, yeah, all that stuff about me in the Epstein files was all fake, we're finding. And it's like, he can't help it. He just gives himself away. It's like, oh, so there was a bunch of stuff about you in the files. Like,
he can't keep getting away with this. It's so annoying.
Look at the people who voted him in. This is why he was able to pull this off.
Yeah. And also consider the fact that a lot of these people are aware of misconduct allegations around men in their own community that they discredit women for. It's like if more of you Christians were this concerned about your pastor, right? Because I give this challenge to people all the time. It's my favorite challenge to give people. Go to the Google News tab of your Google thing and type in local pastor. Hit search and tell me what the fuck comes up. And these are the people that will keep going to church every Sunday. Release the Epstein logs. Believe the women in your own fucking community.
Exactly.
Right? Because if you really want to crack down on pedophilia and like women being, trafficked and assaulted and groomed and all that kind of stuff, you need to look to the powerful men in your own community. And we need to stop. Also, how stupid to believe a powerful man was going to expose himself and other powerful men.
Exactly. Like, how stupid
when has that
you?
ever happened? Like,
how stupid
seriously,
are you?
It is absolutely crazy. But yeah, that is really funny.
And if y'all are wondering how that's able to even happen in the first place, I need y'all to know that money is kind of like an iceberg. The billionaires and CEOs and people that that you're well aware of that have a lot of money are like the top of that iceberg that you can see. But there are people around this world that have so much money and it goes so much deeper than you or I could ever conceive of. That is called hidden money. And that is what forensic accountants try so hard to expose, but it just goes so far deep. Because like they had what's called the Panama Papers, and that exposed like all these offshore accounts with like billions of dollars. And the journalists who exposed nope, it's not that nobody cared. It's like that person got disappeared, and then those files got like kind of pushed down in the media and suppressed. So I do think you should look up the Panama Papers if you're interested. So
yeah, I still remember when that was a thing, and when everybody was like, "Yo, let's expose the Panama Papers." And like speaking of, ordinary citizens trying to expose things rather than just like being in community and allowing community to do its thing. My tea this week is the Coldplay concert couple and how comfortable people were with the witch hunt of it all. And I'm not, you know what I mean? The video itself, very funny. The circumstances, very funny. It makes it even better that it was a CEO, billionaire, like whatever, putting him on blast. Very funny. What have been the practical results of that? The man's wife in question had to delete her Facebook due to harassment. The man's daughter in question, the woman that he was having an affair with, is getting so much more heat than the CEO, right? People are like, oh, it's so immoral for a head of HR. He's the CEO. Right? We're missing that whole piece of it. It immediately turns into misogyny, right? And I've seen this so much too because I've been commentating on like the season of Love Island, and shit got so crazy this year. We are in unprecedented times, and we're normalizing the kind of digital witch hunt that will hurt women and children first and foremost. And I'm really concerned about that because while this particular instance of it was funny, we have to admit that people had no idea that this man was a CEO or anything like that before they followed their weird ass urge to dox him. it would be enough for the video to go viral. Like their spouses will find out, if the video is viral and everybody's having a good time, just commentating on the circumstances, like whatever, their spouses will get wind of it one way or another. You did not need to dox them. You did not need to take justice into your own hands. And there's people out there saying that we should make cheating illegal. And I'm sitting here asking, like in the Bible? Like in the Bible, you guys want to stone women outside of the city, like in the Bible?
Here's the thing. We would be stoning the men more than the women, though.
Would we, though? Yeah. That's my question. Because in the Bible...
I get what you're saying. But I'm saying if we were to follow that, the stoning would have to be of... I'm not saying we will stone the men, but I'm saying it would have to be the men that we're stoning, because men who are married are the ones committing adultery. If he's with a single woman... She's not married. She's not committing adultery. Exactly. I know. Realistically, she's not the one that took marriage vows or anything. It's him. So we would have to be stoning the men. So we already know that the patriarchy is never going to let that happen. But the craziest part about this whole thing is, had they just sat there and looked normal and didn't look guilty and duck and dodge, no one would have thought anything of it. The people would have just moved on. They just would have been a normal. Somebody would have probably caught it years down the road, or you know what I mean, or whatever. But they did all of that, and he even said someone's either they're very shy or they're having an affair. And that killed it.
That was Chris Martin. Yeah, that's what killed it. But I just think that like going to the links that people have gone to, it just reminds me of like how, like there was a girl on Love Island and it turned out that she had used a racial slur in the past. And so she was rightfully, 2 women actually this season were removed from Love Island, like in the night. From the villa. They were just snatched up out of there because it was found out that they had used racial slurs in the past. Neither of the women were white. Just also another piece of this. Neither of the women were white. They were both Hispanic, I think. And one of the women's family ended up, like, people were calling ICE on her family. People were doxing, her family members. Right. Then there was another instance in which there were 2 Black women on the show, and in which like this kind of vigilante justice was applied to them by people saying that they need to get beat up, right? Like that is horrible. Right. That is crude misogynoir. That is violence against Black women. And people did not even feel comfortable saying that about the women who used racial slurs. People were not advocating to beat them up. But then when 2 Black women did something that a lot of people didn't like, which was, it was all very trivial things. Like people were calling them like mean girls just because they didn't want to be supporting somebody's delusion or whatever. Like, I don't know. They were like actually trying to hold people accountable. But what that turned into was violence against Black women. One of the women got her TikTok account hacked, and she still doesn't have access to it to this day. She doesn't have access to her own TikTok account. The other one of the women, BuzzFeed, the brand, like BuzzFeed something food or whatever, posted a meme inciting violence against her, saying that she needs to eat a knuckle sandwich for breakfast. Meanwhile, this is one of the sweetest girls in the villa who has literally not done anything to justify this kind of, vigilante justice or whatever. Then there was another woman on Love Island that some people didn't like, because she was kind of the drama this season. And there's plenty of reason not to like her. But there's a man out on the internet right now saying that whatever deals that Huda gets from Love Island, I'm going to contact those companies and I'm going to like make sure that she loses these deals. She loses these brand deals. The woman in question is a single mother. Like, we're losing the motherfucking plot. Like, there's a way to hold people accountable without doing all of this.
This is exactly why I am so glad that the birth rate is declining. It's stuff like this where people get mad at me because I was like, I really believe humanity should go extinct. And they're like, how can you say that? You're a human. Exactly.
So easily.
Exactly.
So easily.
I see how all of this stuff every day confirms just how horrible people are. Absolute garbage, in my opinion. Trash human beings that should not be allowed to breathe the same air as the rest of us. So I'm like,
take them out back.
Team, let the birth rate plummet to hell. Shout out to Burb.
Burb and
like
bougie.
That's literally how I like every day. Every time I see one of her videos and she said the birth rates are still plummeting every day, I'm like, yes. That's what needs to happen.
And because, let me just say the other piece about Love Island is that there were multiple men this season that have done the same types of things, that have said slurs, that have been like exposed for being, you know, very non-politically correct. And guess what the fuck happened to them?
Nothing.
Nothing. Nothing.
So
I'm like, whenever you get out the beating stick, just know that it's going to fall on women every single time, and women of color more than anything. And people already do this. Like the surveillance piece of this is already being employed against people of color, by like white Karens and Todds policing neighborhoods and recording, you know, black people that don't belong. This is already happening.
This whole thing goes full circle with the overturning of Roe versus Wade, keeping the numbers, because, you know, white people want to keep their numbers, deport all the immigrants, and, you know, get rid of DEI. This is all targeted towards women, in my opinion.
Exactly.
All women of all races. This is a way for men to like feel like they need to be back on top again, and they're gonna do. And it's gonna come from every little. It's gonna come from every little nook and cranny of a reality show. Who's the CEO of a company? Who's this? Who's that? Like, no matter where, every little nook and cranny where they can gain power over women. That's what this whole thing is to me. Every day is going to be more stories like this.
You summed it
and it's
up.
going to get worse because, you know, women are taking charge of their own lives. No, so seriously, true. It's literally getting worse. And it's going to keep getting worse because women are choosing themselves. Women are just taking control of their lives. That's really what this whole thing is about.
No,
trying to keep women
so
down.
Bad. Yes, and male-centered women, it pisses them off so bad. And it's like, we're never getting out of hell. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, we're just not coming up. Like,
we just got to burn, find a comfortable way to burn. Basically.
Exactly. Yeah. That is what it is. Like, that's what it's coming down to, because what is happening? This was not the case, you know, from someone who was there to see it and alive like 2 years ago, you know, 5 years ago. This was not the fucking case. Like, we were not acting like this as a society. And now we're basically crossing the line into like, let's just surveil each other. Let's just report wrong thing to the government. Like, what do you mean? Like, this is the USSR. This is like people, ordinary citizens were trained to be KGB, just like people are accepting those ICE positions right now, just like, you know, and they're doing it for so little money that it's unthinkable that you're doing it for any kind of like noble reason. You're doing it because you think that these people deserve to suffer.
Which is another reason why I feel like it's making me think of the robot movies where all the robots come to the realization that humans are the problem and they have to save us from ourselves, if you will. And as much as it pains me to say that as a human being, like, and it pisses me off because I'm like, I'm not doing nothing to nobody. I'm just minding my own business and living my life. And there's so many of us that are like not doing anything. But the very fact that we have come here to this point where we are now, we deserve to go extinct, like as a species, in my opinion. It's unfortunate, but it's almost like we're doing this to ourselves. Every little thing that people don't think is a big deal is going to contribute to the fall of humanity.
Exactly.
That's just the way my brain is conjuring this up. I'm like, this is not good. Like, you are, just like you were saying earlier, people are comfortable with the way that they came after the CEO and the side chick, which, don't get me wrong, they got what was coming to them or whatever.
For sure.
But it's just like, why are y'all so comfortable? Why are y'all comfortable with calling ICE on people that, like, y'all are literally ruining families. Y'all are literally ripping 4-year-olds away from their mom and dad. Like, why would you be okay with that? And these people are evil. Like, people are fucking evil. And that's why
it goes deeper than that. Because, like, you think you're calling ICE on just one person, but what ICE is going to do is they're going to take a look at that whole family tree.
Yes,
and see
that's
who's
what I'm
here
saying.
legally and who's here not. And it's just, they're just going to come after not just like the person that you wanted them to go after, but they're going to go after like their family, their friends, anybody they associate with, these businesses that they frequent. They're going to like put almost like a hit on them and just like kind of follow them everywhere and see who they associate with and so on and so forth.
And it's gonna be a domino effect, because think about how much money they put into the economy. They're all gone. You got your donut shop in the area where there's a bunch of Mexican people or immigrants from all around the world. I'm just using them as an example. And what do you think is going to happen to your donut shop if you don't have customers? This is going to, I'm just using it as an example. It's going to literally screw everybody is going to be affected by this in one way or another. That's just one small example.
Women. Like I don't know how, but they will. They will. Oh, because the white women that are left here are not producing enough babies. We need to force that. Like literally, that's what it's going to be. The economy's crumbling because we don't have any of our own children. You know, we're the American children. It's going to be something like that, and we're not going to see the effects of these things fully for, years, just like it was with the Patriot Act. And they used the war to justify spying on regular citizens. And now the government can everyone jokes about, oh, my FBI agent watching me save TikToks or whatever. It's normalized. It's normalized. Everyone's like, oh, yeah, well, of course the government is watching us. Like, that's not normal. That's not okay. We deserve a right to privacy. And when you invade people's privacy on a large scale, that is scary. That gives then the government and other bad actors in the capitalism sphere look at that and say, oh, got it. We're okay with this, which means we're also okay with X, Y, and Z. Yep. And then, it backfires on the regular citizens first and foremost, but it backfires double that on marginalized communities. Yep. That is what it is, because they need people to put in jails. So yeah, let's criminalize cheating. That's just more people working for free in a jail.
Criminalizing cheating is
crazy.
Y'all would rather there are women out there who would rather criminalize being cheated on. You would rather.
I see where you're going.
I just don't get. I hate the whole cheating thing. I hate anybody that's cheating. You should not be cheating. It's wrong, whatever. But at the same time, I would never vote for it to be criminalized. Because that's going to open up a whole new can of worms. You know how many people are going to die just because it's like, I'm going to go tell the courts that you were cheating on me.
I'm telling you.
All of y'all going to be dead.
Women are going to die.
All y'all going to die. You're not, this is not going to have the outcome that you think. It's just not. Y'all have to have foresight, and y'all need to think ahead, which they're never going to do that anyways, just because we live in a patriarchy and they uphold cheating. That's the very fabric of being a man is being able to cheat.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's never going to happen.
This is going to hurt men. No, it won't, because men will be like, nah, he was with me.
Exactly.
That's bro code. You know what I mean? It's women that are always getting hung out to dry.
Even their enemies, even if it's a guy that they don't agree with politically, or they don't. Men stick together no matter what. Women, I really wish we could take some notes out of the men's handbook when it comes to bro code. They stick together no matter what. They don't even have to like each other. But we won't stick together because you wear makeup.
Point fingers. Yeah.
So I don't think you're a mom. So I don't think you should. You're not even a real feminist. And that's why we're always going to be in the situation we're in as women, because we don't know how to stick together. It's so pathetic. And the more I do this, the more I just anyways.
I hate this pedestal that we put women on that we don't put men on at all.
Yes.
That's why the standards are so much more harsh. And all of these consequences are far harsher on women because we put them on this pedestal.
But you know why? Because women are the ones who birth them. So if you have the power to give birth, you're naturally by default going to get blamed for whatever happens, because you have the power to not give birth. And I know that sounds very radical to a lot of people. What do you mean? Humanity would die. It should, but that's a whole other topic. I don't care about humanity dying. Do you care about being blamed for the decisions of your offspring or not? Because you're going to get blamed no matter what. I personally wouldn't be able to deal with any of that. That's why I chose not to have kids. One of the reasons.
And we're not willing to.
I'm sorry to say that. I don't agree with it, but I'm just saying, you have to understand why you're being blamed. A lot of them are jealous of the fact that women have the power to decide who comes here or not. There are a lot of men who has not gotten over that. And they hate women. Their misogyny shows through, because anything that's girl-like or anything that's woman-like is wrong and it's bad and it's whatever. Then they're raising their sons up to think the same thing, and then they're raising up their sons. And so it's at some point, you have the power to kind of cut that off. I'm just putting that out there.
I think women are slowly shutting off the spigot of we're just done. We're done. Because we cannot
Thank you, South Korean women.
Popping.
Y'all were on to something.
I agree.
Yes, 4B movement.
I agree.
Huge ally. All right. Well, we are very much out of time for this segment. But yes, let's take a short break. And then when we come back, let's talk about consent. All right. Welcome back, y'all. And we are here to talk about consent today. This is obviously a very huge topic that ranges from like society-wide things to individual levels of like where it's affecting people in the bedroom and at home and all of that. So if y'all don't mind, I would kind of like to start out with a bird's eye view and then sort of get into the more individual parts of consent, because I do think that individual level is dictated by how we feel about women and consent in general as a society. I hope y'all see where I'm kind of going with that. I often use this one illustration to talk about this, and I will send it to Ryan, and hopefully we can include it in this episode so that people can see it visually. But it's like this little pyramid, right? Where a bunch of people are at first holding up like one thing, and then up at the very top, it says femicide, which is like killing women. And the question is, why did no one do anything? But all of that is held up, and this has to do with consent, I promise. But all of that is held up by things like sexist humor. So the very bottom of the pyramid and the most amount of people are holding up sexist humor. Then the next part is devaluing women. Then the next is approaching without consent. The next is touching without consent. Then there's abuse, then there's rape, and then there's femicide. So all of these things are very deeply intertwined, and it kind of starts with just how we perceive women as a society. So I just wanted to open up with that and just open up the floor for us to talk about this. Thank you.
I do think that that's like it's a cultural problem. Like it's us as a culture of people and us living in a society where we interact with each other. And there's this whole thing about Me Too where they were saying like it starts with locker room talk or locker room banter.
Yes.
And the things that just get, pushed aside and excused and like swept under the rug. And then when we look back in like the 2000s type of movies, like those like, American Pie humor type raunchy comedies, like a lot of that was just misogyny, like straight up. Like it grosses me out, like because I remember that those being so popular, but I was too young to like watch those. I think I was maybe like 4 or 5 when some of those came out, and then when I got to watch them as like a teenager or like as an adult, I was like, damn, how did this even get past? It's like funny, and it's horrifying. So I do think it starts at that like kind of bottom level layer, and all that gets excused.
And also, men have a sense of entitlement to women.
Exactly.
Regardless. It's like they're born with this sense of entitlement. I'm not saying that they are, but it just seems like it because it's almost ingrained in almost all of them. Like they have this sense of like, you should pay attention to me. Even if you're walking down the street and you're minding your own business, you're waiting at the bus stop or you're shopping at the store or whatever, and they come up to you and they feel as though because they risked getting rejected, they put themselves out there that you need to reciprocate. You need to pay them some attention, look at them, give them your phone number, laugh at their jokes, whatever. And of course, there are those few unfortunate situations where, a man has taken a woman's life because she didn't want to give him his phone number. So they have this sense of entitlement to begin with, which every chance I get, I tell men, women don't owe you shit. Nobody owes you eye contact in public. Nobody has to speak to you. Just like the guy who went viral about a week or two ago. What's with black women that don't want to speak in the store? I looked right at her eyeballs and she looked right at me and she didn't say nothing back. And I laughed and I did a video about it because it was funny. But I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. They really feel as though you're supposed to speak to them. Don't nobody owe you nothing. And until a lot of these men understand, that's the part of the patriarchy that sets boys up for failure, is thinking because you approach a woman, she needs to talk to you. She has to talk to you. Then if they haven't been taught proper etiquette as far as being rejected or anger management, they will literally attack a woman because she's like, no, thank you. And most women are not even rude. There are some rude women out there that's like rude when they say no. The vast majority of women, they are. Right, yeah. But no, it is. But I'm just saying, most women are not even rude about it. They're not even like being mean and degrading or anything to these men to give them any reason why they feel like they should attack you. I'm not saying it's ever okay to be attacked.
Right. No.
By any means. But I'm saying, well, most women say, well, I have a husband or I'm married or I have a girlfriend or I'm focusing on myself right now. That's my favorite thing to say. I'm focusing on me right now, and the men will get angry. And it's like, you're going to hit on 50 other women. Just go to woman number 3 now, woman number 4. Like, what's the problem? But they
don't they teach
have
you
a
it's a
sense of
numbers game?
entitlement. It is a numbers game. They know it is, but they probably get turned down so much. And I feel like if women are rejecting you left and right, it's you. You probably should stop approaching women. Stop approaching women. Go sit in the corner at home somewhere and figure out.
Or go look in a mirror and
that's what I'm saying.
Get more realistic with yourself about the kind of women you should be approaching.
Absolutely.
Damn. Get your looks match.
You gotta looks match. I'm sorry, but like
It's
if
so
you're not
true.
looks maxing, you gotta looks match. Like,
that is so funny.
That is what it is.
Looks maxing is fucking hilarious to me.
And it's not shade at either the men or the women, but it's just like, listen, there's certain things. I think this also like sneaky comes back to gender roles. Like hearing you talk about like men feeling entitled to women is because we teach men that they're leaders. Because a man thinks he should be able to look at you,
which is a lie,
and lead you. It's a huge lie. The biggest lie.
One of the biggest lie ever told.
ever told, right? It's up there with God is a man and he creates people. Like it's up there with that.
It's up there with we came from the ribs of Adam.
Maybe that's how it starts.
It's up there. It's like visually demonstrable. Yes. And it's how it's perpetuated. Like that's how it's packaged. But like the thing at the core of it is definitely entitlement. But it's also like that entitlement is like put forth in our culture. Like a lot of men would have grown up with a dad who is like, no, it's my way or the highway. Like, it's my word. I'm putting my foot down. And the mom just had to listen. The mom just had to follow along with his bad decisions. The mom just had to be okay with being let off a cliff. And that's what these boys are growing up seeing. And they're like, I want a submissive woman like that. And so when they come up to a woman and she's not naturally, immediately submissive to them,
they glitch.
They glitch, exactly. And they cannot, figure it out. And then the other part of like what you're describing is like being approached without consent. And then men will push back on that being like, yeah, well, how are we supposed to ask women out? Or like now you women are complaining that nobody's approaching you. And it's like, there's a right and a wrong way to approach somebody with and without consent. Like you can say, hey, can I talk to you for a second? Hey, can I
even
you know
that,
what I mean?
Even that is annoying.
It's annoying for sure.
Oh my God.
Yes. Also, consider the places where you're approaching women, right? Is she at a grocery store? Is it after work? Is it, you know what I mean?
The gym.
Maybe, right. Like there are singles events. There are events that you can sign up for, and there will be that, that's the consent part, right? Like when you go to a grocery store, you're not signing up, you're not consenting to random people talking to you, right? Especially to random men, especially being asked out on dates. That's not what you consent to. You consent to shopping for food and paying for that food.
Exactly.
That's the only things you are consenting to. When men just assume that they're entitled to women out in the wild, that's crazy. Acting like that's the only time that you have to ask a woman out. That's not true. There are literally mixers. There are, clubs with an emphasis on it's singles night or it's ladies night or whatever. And so the people that go there, they know what they're getting into. And people miss that fundamental piece of it. They're like, well, just because you had the nerve to exist around me, you have to now be nice to me when I approach you without consent. And that's crazy. And that leads to other things like, touching women for consent, or I can't pay you a compliment. No, you're hollering at me from across the street. That's not a compliment. That I did not consent to that compliment. Now that's undue attention. It sounds like a threat.
It comes off as a threat because you're across the street and you're yelling.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. And then people will take that and be like, women are so dramatic about this stuff. And it's like, no. We're going up the pipeline, right? The approaching without consent, the touching without consent. That's why a lot of times this is applied to Black women, and a lot of white women do this to Black women too. And that's misogynoir. That's you acting like a white man, just being like, it's okay for me to comment on a Black woman's body or hair or touch things without consent. That is all male centered, and that is anti-woman. That is anti-consent. When I tell y'all that my husband of 13 years will still be like, hey, can I run up and squeeze you really tight so that he doesn't catch me off guard when he wants to do that, so that I'm not like, shocked or something when he comes up to me or like wants to, be playful with me. Like that still requires consent. That still is like, hey, are you in the mood for this? Like, hey, can we like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's even more so when it comes to like intimacy, and like once we get into things like, the bedroom or whatever. And that's where we can like, really break it down. But it's the fact that like society doesn't feel as though women are entitled to consent. Society at large, other women included, right? They'll be like, oh, I like it when men catcall me. Oh, I like it. I think it's a compliment. And it's like, yeah, oh, good. I'm glad
women
you don't
like
care
that are
about,
so lost.
So lost. So pathetic. Like,
if just for context, if you think a man complimenting you or coming up to you or catcalling you is a compliment, remember the butterball turkeys.
Reflect on
remember
that.
Remember the
monitor lizard.
Remember how we got STDs in the first place.
Yes, please pay attention to how STDs got introduced to the human race to begin with. Please understand again that once a man approaches you, he's approached 50 women before you and he's going to approach another 50 after you. It is not special. Yes. You are not special because a man is saying, you're so beautiful. They're telling every woman the same thing. Mm-hmm. You have to have higher self-esteem than that, ladies, please.
Yes. And especially when they have like the really clever pickup lines, like that just means they're an expert.
Yes, they've been practicing.
Consent,
they've been practicing.
They have a little book that
and if it works on you, they know it's going to work on the next 10 women that they ask later today too, probably.
Exactly.
So you're not special. Trust
me.
Oh my God.
Yes. And this, like sexist humor and devaluing women, like that's something that women participate in too. And I just hate that so much because it gives credence to all the rest of it. And like commenting on women's bodies, commenting on how women are dressing, all of that devalues women. It devalues women to a piece of meat, to like something that everyone's entitled to look at. And they'll be like, oh, why can I see your labia at the gym? I don't know. I see men's nipples all the time at the gym. Okay, I see men's like outlines of things all the time at the gym, right? Like there are men who show up to my hot yoga class in a Speedo and I can see way more than just their labia. Okay, you know what I mean? Like I'm serious. Like I'm just exposing things that I've literally been like, that I've seen. Like there's a man in one of my classes that keeps wearing these like yoga shorts that I don't think he realizes there's a square on the butt and it's all mesh and you can see his butt crack through it. And y'all are talking about...
He knows exactly what he's doing.
Exactly.
He knows exactly.
And y'all are talking about, oh, women, I can see your labia at the gym. I don't fucking care. So what if you can? Let's normalize it. Let's normalize the fucking moose knuckle. You know what I mean?
It's like, you want me to just like take my pussy and put it on my nightstand? Like, what you want me to do with that for
seriously.
real?
You want me to take it off? Like, what the fuck? Ryan is doubled over.
There was
right
a
now.
Friends episode with the shorts. I don't know if y'all watched Friends or not, but there was an episode with
the guy
with the shorts and he was always hanging out the bottom of his shorts. And he was sit in the chair and have his legs like up on the arm of the like and show everything, and it was just the funniest thing. But like we're traumatized. Yeah. And it starts with stuff like that. It really does, and we think it's harmless. Mm-hmm. But it goes up that pyramid, like you said. But that episode was funny.
It was very funny. So many men are like actually like indecent exposures or whatever it is, like indecent. What is that called? Like they will literally walk around in like a trench coat.
Exhibitionist? Wait, what is the word?
Exhibitionist or something like that, like a peeping Tom type.
Somebody that likes to flash themselves or...
Yes. And it's like women get demonized just for wearing outfits. And it's like, meanwhile, literally men are out here in a trench coat and nothing else. But in a fucking drive-through, showing their dick to women.
Not in a
like
sexy
that's
way
crazy.
either.
Like ask any bikini barista about male entitlement, by the way, too. Because those men will literally will pull up with their dick out. Like that's so crazy. Like that's entitlement, right? Just because a woman's dressed a certain way. And all of that, think about the kind of porn men are watching, right? Where it's like the most diabolical things are becoming normalized. Porn where it's like consensual non-consent, or even worse than that, like, you know, you have all kinds of porn that's just like a woman, I don't know, like even just how porn starts, it's like, oh, a pizza guy comes over and all of a sudden he's having sex with you. Like, that's not normal. That's not how women live their sex life. Usually we have to vet, we have to like make sure the guy's not a serial killer first, and men are out here acting like women are that horny to where we're not concerned about our personal safety. I wish that were the case. You know what I mean? Like, I wish that it was that easy and simple and fun and whatever, but it's not. Men are actively dangerous to women, and we downplay that every single day. We're like, no, women should actually be complimented by it. Imagine if men never gave you guys compliments. Men never get compliments, and we're lonely. And it's like, give each other compliments. I wouldn't miss men's compliments, because every time I see a woman who's my friend, I get a fucking compliment and I give one back. So guess what? I don't need y'all's compliments.
I don't either. Never have.
It's fucking crazy to be so entitled. Like, that's insane work.
Being the object of someone's attraction, especially a man, is terrifying, actually.
Exactly.
Like the moment a man set his sights on me in that way, my heart will start beating kind of fast. Like, I don't know if this man's a rapist. I don't know what, I don't know. You know, so in my mind, I'm not flattered by a man's attention. I'm actually 100%. Threatened by it. So until I see or can feel he's an okay guy, like, you're guilty until proven innocent with me, not the other way around. So, you know, and that's typically how a lot of women have to go through life. A lot of them don't. A lot of them go through, he's innocent until proven guilty. I mean, that's your business, but that's a lot of us are not. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. I have a question about all of these old, like, you know, porn situations of like the 70s, 80s, maybe even 90s, where it was like the pizza delivery that got stuck in the washer or whatever, or the what's another like common trope that happens? Oh, pool boy. I wonder if, like, you know, back in the 70s and 80s and like maybe 90s, if there was like a higher amount of trust in men and between men and women in general, or if that these were always just like, you know, an extreme type of fantasy. Because, like, I wonder, like, because it's got to come from somewhere, right? And I just wonder, like, maybe somebody can answer that in the comments for our Gen X ladies who were there during that time and can tell me if that was just, was that really a thing? Like, were women just, like, you know, grabbing these pizza delivery boys and just, you know, having their way with them, or like a pool boy or somebody? I don't, because I think I'm fascinated.
I think those are mostly the fantasies of men, but I do believe that women were doing that, and I just don't think it was on a grand scale. It was like a one-off here and a one-off there. I don't think...
Also, women couldn't, like, get divorced, mind you, in those days. No, there was, like, you know, it would get murky with, can you even afford to get divorced? Like, can you know what I mean? I don't know.
Right.
So...
Especially if you knew that your husband was having affairs and he had a whole other families on the side, and the pool boy is here today, and your husband is out of town for a week on business, allegedly.
Right.
And it's like, I've been watching him for a while. And I can absolutely see how
get mine.
Yeah, I can absolutely see how that happened. But as far as like the trust amongst each other back then, I do think there's a difference, only because when I was coming up, yes, it was always a dangerous world. It's always been a dangerous world. But it was okay. I grew up at the tail end of a man comes to pick you up for a date, and I live over here. And, you know, they just come pick you up on a date, and you wasn't really worried about being stalked and killed and whatever else. I feel like I grew up on the tail end of what they call chivalry, and the guy's coming to open your door. And when he drops you off, he makes sure that you're in the house before he drives off. And then we crossed over into this, like, girl, don't tell nobody where you stay. Don't get that man your real phone number. Don't do this. Don't do that. And so there was a time, I believe, just based on a little bit of time I've been on the earth, where it seemed safer. Like, we would just kind of go out and hang out, and you wasn't really afraid of
men.
I know.
Were, like,
I know what you're finna ask.
Yeah, okay.
I know what you're finna ask.
Get there.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna ask it. Was that because men really did, like, were entitled to women on some level? Like, men still knew that, like, women don't have, like, jobs or careers at that time, right? Yeah. Like, not a lot of women were career women in the 70s, 80s, even 90s, you know?
Right.
Like, it was ramping up. But I think as it ramped up, that's where men started getting more pissed and more entitled, because they weren't just promised
Yeah.
You know, like
that
women were
sense.
getting more selective too. And women were not having to settle, you know, left and right just to have a man, just to be have permission, just to have a credit card, just to have like, you know, a roof over their head. And I think that's where it started getting more murky with men being like, no, I will find you. Like, I will track you down, you know?
I think they felt women, some of them probably felt women starting to slip away, and they tried just a little bit harder before they gave up. Like that moment where it's like, okay, I got to do this. Okay, maybe I should do this now. Okay, maybe I got to impress her this way. And then once guys start realizing that wasn't necessarily working, then it's like, okay, now I'm just going to start killing bitches. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just using it as an example. I just think there's a transition period. I just wonder like when and where and how. But it definitely, dating used to be fun when I was coming up.
Yeah.
Like it was actually fun. And you know, you wasn't necessarily afraid of, don't get me wrong. We knew it was some crazy men out there for sure, but that wasn't the norm. It wasn't like every date you go on, you fearing for your life. It was like once every blue moon you would go on a date like that. But now it's like, you can't even go to your mailbox without...
No,
you know
seriously. What I mean? And the way that women talk about like when they do get, you know, left alone with men, like that entitlement kind of skyrockets, where they're like, yeah, the first time we kissed, he put his hands on my throat, started choking me. And I'm like, I've literally never heard of this. Like, I literally, like, when I was coming up, when we were dating, like, that was not a fucking thing. Like, you had to specifically clarify that you were into that. You had to find a man who was into that. Like, women were struggling finding men who were into that. And
now there's websites
when
for that
I was
shit,
coming up,
where you can find each other.
And now, and it's like men still won't do that. They will just ask a woman out on a date and then choke her. Because they don't want to bother. They don't like the consent part of it. They don't like it. They like to catch a woman off guard. It gives them power. It makes them feel powerful. The cruelty is the point. Exactly. Like the feeling a woman smaller than you or whatever, like more vulnerable than you, that's what makes your pee-pee hard instead of consent. Like, it's so sick.
And that's another reason why when men choose to rape women, it has nothing to do with what you were wearing. It has nothing to do with how you were carrying yourself or how nice your body is or how nice and not. None of that matters. It's about the power play. It's about, I want to see her scream or I want to hear her beg. No, they get off on that. And so, you know, that's the whole how you dress thing is what caused your rape. Pisses me off more than anything. Like, oh my God.
It's so outdated.
You remember Remember when we were talking about that the exhibit? What were you wearing exhibit?
Yeah. The wedding dress.
There were onesies up there, like baby onesies.
Yeah.
And little girl outfit. Yeah, little ballerina dresses and stuff for a 2-year-old. Yeah. So I want women to understand that it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the mindset of that particular man or these men who do those things.
There's enough of them to have a fucking museum. Like, people don't understand. People act like this shit is so rare. No, literally, like, every woman, like, I could tell you what I was wearing. I was 13 years old. You know what I mean? I couldn't have been wearing anything that bad. Like, couldn't have been wearing anything that made a grown man look at me and think, oh, let me molest her real quick in this parking lot. Like, that's not okay. Like, it doesn't matter what you're wearing. The point is consent. The point is, how are we going to act as humans to one another? And the worst part of it is too, like, if y'all don't mind, we can transition into the more individual part of it, is like how entitled men feel to you, especially after they get into a relationship with you or get married or whatever. Yes. Like, a lot of men use that as an excuse to just skirt consent, to just avoid it whatsoever. And they start pressuring women into X amount of times a week or X amount of times a day. Or, you know, they start equating it to love. They start equating it to acceptance or need or whatever. And it's like, it just gets so crazy. And that's where, like, the most dangerous thing happens, right? Because femicide doesn't happen on the grand scale that we're, you know, talking about. But it's because so many men feel so comfortable making sexist jokes and jokes that devalue women, like, oh, you need to be in the kitchen, or that's what she said, or whatever. all these kind of jokes make other men think that it's okay once you do have a woman in your vicinity that she owes you certain things, or because she consented to being in your vicinity, or because she consented to going on a date and you paid for dinner, now she owes you sex. Like, all of this is like, you don't view women as human beings. And it's like, what do we owe each other as human beings?
I just want to put this out there that I just looked it up. Marital rape only became illegal in 1993, July 5th, 1993. Historically, most rape statutes read that rape was forced sexual intercourse with a woman, not your wife, thus granting husbands a license to rape. But on July 5th, 1993, marital rape became a crime in all 50 states under at least one section of the sexual offense codes, which I didn't even know we had codes at this point. Like, they just be getting away with it left and right, but I digress. So
yeah, what codes? But yeah, no, that's...
Yeah, I was just looking that up too, Gwen, at the same time. The first state to criminalize rape, marital rape, was South Dakota in 1975, and then Nebraska in 1976. But in order for, like you said, for all states to criminalize marital rape was 1993, which
insane.
That was not that long ago, people.
Mm-hmm.
That was not that long ago. It just was not that long ago. And can you imagine like Lisa was saying, the amount of entitlement men feel once they marry you or once you become a girlfriend? Like, you have to give them sex whenever they want it. You can't say no. It's basically, to these men's mind, being my girlfriend or being my wife is consent. That is consent to them. Mm-hmm. And no. A woman, your wife or girlfriend, has the right to say no, especially if you've been cheating on her, especially if she's not in the mood, especially, I'm for whatever, the sky is blue today. It doesn't really matter the reason. I want to make that very clear. But I'm just saying, a woman's consent, she can say no at any time, period, point blank, for any reason. But for men to not even understand when she actually has like a real, like, hardcore reason, like, you've been cheating on me. Yeah. You know, I don't trust you. I don't know. You put my health at risk. Or you've been beating me. Surprise, surprise. I'm not in the mood after you just like beat me up. Or, you know, I worked all day, or I've been raising the kids. Whatever her reason is. Today is Tuesday and it's 7:00. That's the reason why I don't want to, you know what I mean? The reason doesn't matter. And so I want to make that very clear. Every reason for you to not want to have sex is legitimate. It is your reason. Anytime you feel something is off, there's a reason why something's off. There's a reason why you can't sleep next to him at night. There's a reason why you feel anxiety when you're around him. There's a reason why you're not ready. Doesn't matter if you understand what the reason is. What matters is that you follow your instinct. If you're saying, you know, dick in hand, right? You're at his house. Y'all literally getting ready to get it on. And for whatever reason, something comes over you and you're like, no, I don't think I'm ready. I thought I was ready, but I'm not. I'm so sorry. That's it. Anything he does at that point, from that point on, is rape. No, I know, but I get it. I just know how women are. We are always apologizing for shit when we shouldn't be. Sometimes it's just a figure of speech. But it's like, you know, you have the right to say no. There's a reason why your body is telling, because your body knows before you do, in my opinion. Your body will reject a man before you even had time to think about why 100%. You should reject him. So just follow your instinct. There is a reason. Do not let people gaslight you. Don't let these men say, well, dick is in hand. I'm getting ready. This is this close. I'm getting ready to. No, it doesn't matter. Even if you were into it up until that point, and then some came over you for whatever reason. A fly flew by. I got a fly in my room. So
that's your ancestor.
No, because by the shoulder. But like, literally like
a fly flew by and I'm turned off. It doesn't matter. Like you have the right to say, I changed my mind, or no, or I've never agreed to this, or whatever it is. And anything a man does to you from that point forward is rape.
Yes.
Point blank, period. Yes. Or assault, or whatever.
Coercion or whatever.
Coercion. Absolutely. Yes. And go ahead.
I was just going to say, a man should even be able to tell, and most of them can. They can tell when you are uncomfortable. They can tell when you're freezing up. They can tell when you're no longer an enthusiastic participant. Trust me, they can tell.
They know.
And if you are ever experiencing any of that, like I know some women involuntarily freeze up when stuff starts happening, and that is a scary place to be. And the last person you want around you during that time is a man who's going to take advantage of that, rather than be like, hey, I noticed that you're just like not as into it. let's just stop. Let's stop for a second. Let's reevaluate, how we're feeling. At least if he's not doing that, or at least asking you, or at least being like, hey, I'm just noticing you're not as into it. Are you sure you're into it? Are you sure we don't need to stop? And that man is a rapist. I'm sorry, but he can tell. Absolutely. He can tell, unless you are like faking, like enthusiastically faking being enthusiastic. They can tell. They can tell. And even like, I think we should hold men to higher standards. Like, just because you're there, like naked and stuff, but you're laying there. Because why is it that so many women are like, oh yeah, I told my husband, like, well, you can do whatever you want. I'm just going to lay here. Why are we normalizing this shit? Ladies, what the hell? And also like men, what the hell? Sorry, like not even ladies, because it's because of men that women feel so pressured to do that, to be like, oh, well, I'll just lay there. It's like we're normalizing non-consensual sex. We're normalizing rape.
I'm guilty of that. I've done that before with one of my exes. Well, I was mad at him. So I was like mad at him, and I just was not in the mood. And he didn't care. And
that's crazy.
No, here's the thing. I think women tell men that because we want you to know that, and we want you to feel uncomfortable. Because right now I'm uncomfortable, and I want you to feel uncomfortable. I'm saying it. What I'm saying is I'm saying it because I understand the lens of why women are saying that. We have normalized it, but women are typically saying it to the guy because it's like, we want you to be like, she don't want it, then I don't want it. And it doesn't always work, but that's the reason why we're doing it, because we want to turn you off.
But also the reason is because men won't stop fucking asking, like, because they don't understand how to not coerce somebody. It's like, that's a response to like, okay, do you really want it like this? Like, you really want it? Like me just laying here, me just not enthusiastic, me absolutely not interested, me uncomfortable, me just having to like take it. Like, wow.
And please know that's a red flag, ladies, too.
Huge red flag.
It's a huge red flag. If he doesn't care that you are not into serious.
And
he does it anyway, he's a rapist to me. Like, I'm sorry.
He's a sociopath. And the fact that we've normalized it to this extent is so disturbing.
It's not that we as a society, I guess, kind of normalize it. I think religion plays a huge part of that, because there was a lot of conditioning within, I guess, the Bible or just within Christian scopes that, this woman who is your wife, she has a duty to you. She has her wife. This is a part of her wifely duties. And so they both kind of like follow this script where the wife just kind of like just lays there and the husband just thinks that that's normal. The man thinks that's normal. And I'm not excusing it in any way, shape, or form.
I know exactly what I agree.
But there is like a sort of like, I guess, kind of a programming or a script that they both kind of follow, and it's our displeasure and our hesitation and our unwillingness to be enthusiastic participants. They've come to expect that, like they've come to just kind of
come to sexualize it.
Yeah,
and they'll sexualize it, definitely.
That's to them, that's a conquest.
Remember that video that we both did a video on of the woman who said every time her husband wants to have sex with her, she has to remind herself that this is his way of connecting.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely pathetic.
So
I'm
pathetic.
Like, that's not
crazy.
The very fact that women still fall for that is another problem. He's not connecting with those butterball turkeys. He is not connecting with a dead corpse. He's not like, I'm never gonna get over those turkeys, y'all, in case y'all haven't figured that out. But he's not you're not a connection. It's another coercion. It's another manipulative tactic that men use to get you to have sex with them. Any man who, if you tell your husband or your baby daddy or whoever, if you tell them, I'm just gonna lay here, I'm not really into it, and you just stare at the ceiling and blow hard and like, and all of that, like how I was doing, just to turn them off, and they're not turned off, that's a problem.
That's a huge problem.
Please know what you're gonna know in that moment, what type of man you're married to or that you're in a relationship with, because he doesn't care about your pleasure. Which women already complain about this to begin with, about how men are just in it for themselves. Yeah. And so it's like, he's showing you that he doesn't even care. He's just using your body. That is such a problem. And even though you've given so-called consent, it's really not consent because you don't really want it. And if he's not recognizing that, which they know, just like Lisa said, they know when you're uncomfortable and they do it anyway, you're married to a sociopath. Or you're in a relationship with a sociopath.
They can tell, ladies, seriously, do not let a man ever be like,
absolutely
they absolutely know.
They know.
And so young women specifically,
they target women based on how low they think your self-esteem is to begin with. Or if you're vulnerable, they can pick up on that. They're predators. They can sense that the same way a
shark
animal
can smell
in
blood in the water.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
totally.
Same thing. Same exact thing. It's their nature. They have had to survive. So they've sharpened those skills where they know who to go after and who to target. So they are already approaching you from whatever angle that they have anyway. So don't be fooled and believe that they don't know and they can't tell that you're not uncomfortable. Like they absolutely know.
Yes. And don't forget, ladies, about the skills that you have developed, which is your intuition. Absolutely. So like to Sovereign's point, your body will know before you do. Your body will kind of like, you will feel uncomfortable. You have to learn to recognize those signs within yourself because that is trying to keep you safe from somebody who is honed in to be a predator towards you. I don't know how else to explain it, but yeah, a lot of men like go to bars or like this is why all your male friends come out of the woodwork when you break up with a boyfriend or you get a divorce or whatever. And then they come out and be like, let me comfort you with my dick. Like, no, you know, because
dick in hand,
because they think you're going to be vulnerable and receptive to that.
They really tell each other a shoulder to cry on because a dick to ride on. That's literally what they say to each other.
That is literally
I've never heard that before.
No, that's so true.
Crazy. That is crazy work.
A shoulder to cry on becomes a dick to ride on.
Ew.
Oh, absolutely. I've heard that a lot. But that's another way that women can pay attention to the type of friends you have too, because they're all going to come after you. Most of them are all predators. So when your friends, like she said, come out the woodworks, it's because they think you're vulnerable. Now this is their shot. It has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with you're so incredible and wonderful, which I'm pretty sure you are as a woman.
Of course.
But not from their lens. They're not looking at it that way. They're looking at how can I get her body? How can I get her free labor? Whatever it is they want from you. So as women go on this journey to figure out themselves and understanding consent better and understanding the patriarchy and all of that, you are absolutely going to come to the realization that you don't really have any real male friends, that most men are just out to get you based on what they want. And it's going to be a hard pill to swallow. And I know a lot of women are going to want to recoil from, is that the right word?
It is.
Yeah.
A lot of women are going to want to say, no, maybe I'm tripping. No, my phone is going to be dry.
Not my guy friends.
You know, or women are going to feel
buddies.
like not my friends, or my phone is going to be dry, or you're going to feel like before you felt you got backup plans. I got men lined up that want me, but once you realize the reason why they actually want you and it's not for you at all, it's like they're sitting by waiting on their turn, and it has not, and they will have sex with you whether you're uncomfortable or not. Once you start piecing all of this together, you're gonna find that wow, you really don't have as many male friends as you thought. Yes. Or you're going to start learning the nature of men, and it's going to be a lonely journey at first. You know, you're going to start to feel, and I think a lot of women start realizing that, and that's why they pull back instead of continuing on with that journey. And they stay pick-me's and they stay in this sense because it's a lot easier, because you just don't want to believe we live in a world where most men don't have your best interest at heart, which unfortunately we live in a world where most men don't have your best interest at heart. The sooner you realize that in your life, the better off you're going to be. The more you fight against it or ignore it or don't see it on purpose or don't see it because you just don't see it, the more harm you're going to face in your life.
Yes.
I wanted to circle back to what I was saying earlier, that I had a message for young women. There is a thing that, you know, boys and men have been doing since, I guess, time immemorial, but I wasn't aware of this and I didn't know that this was a thing. But men will say like, oh, but you're going to give me blue balls and like it hurts. It hurts so much.
Yeah.
Women don't know that's not a thing. That does not exist. Like,
even if
anatomically,
it is, you shouldn't.
It's really
care.
It's not a thing.
You shouldn't fucking care, even if
like,
it was. Okay.
Yeah, like, oh, okay, yeah, because it's like, well, you hurt my feelings, so I guess we both ain't shit. Like, we're both hurt. You're hurt physically, I'm hurt emotionally, but I digress. And so, like, once that clicked for me, there have been so many instances where guys have tried using that shit on me, and I was like little. I was like, you know, a teenager or like baby early 20s. And so I just want to specifically, if it applies to you, it applies to you. don't let a man ever gaslight you and be like, my balls hurt, my blue balls. Like, just say blue labes. I have blue labia. Throw that back out there.
Yeah.
Like, throw that back in their face.
Or just be like, no, now they're about to really fucking hurt because I'm about to like,
I'll kick you.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Or punch you.
Kick you in the balls, and then we're going to see what really hurts. Because when you kick men in the balls, like, they're doubled over. So unless they're, like, doubled over, crying, screaming, throwing up, like, they don't have any blue balls. Mm-hmm. They don't have any blue balls. And yeah,
they want to really
doing that, yeah, they're probably faking it, honestly.
I remember when I was in 7th grade. I think I told this story before, but I remember when I was in 7th grade, there was this fine. Oh, he was so fine. And he was new. We were like halfway through the school year and he came. You know how that is. When somebody new comes in, everybody takes notice. Yeah. Somehow he became my boyfriend. I don't know how it happened. And I was very like tall and awkward when I was in middle school. Like, you know, I was taller than everybody and I was like I'm still skinny, but I was like super skinny. And, you know, so everybody was like, that's her man? How she get him, you know? And to this day, I still don't know how, but he honed in on me, I honed in on him, whatever. And I was still a virgin, but he clearly wasn't. And I found that out the hard way because he was, you know, trying to have sex with me one day. And I was like, I'm not ready. I was into kissing him and hugging him and laying on his chest and all that stuff. I was cool with all that. But I was like, I'm not finna I was in the 7th grade. Like, I'm not doing, you know what I mean? Like, what?
Right.
And he flat out said, well, you know, there's plenty of girls around here that will give it to me if I want it. And in that moment, I was like, damn, that's fucked up. But I was like, well, don't ask me how I had this like confidence in myself or this like presence of mind to disregard it, even though it hurt for a second. I was like, well, I guess you just got to go make those other girls your girlfriend. And I had to be 12 or 13 at the time. Yeah, however old I was in the 7th grade.
Proud of you.
And so I never forgot that because it made me... So when women are in situations where they feel they're not really ready to consent, they probably will because they're afraid that the man is not going to like them anymore or the man is going to break up with them or, you know, whatever. Just know, he flat out told me, y'all. Mm-hmm. So, and that was, I think that might have had something to do with my reaction because he didn't try to lie or try to sugarcoat it. Well, I'll wait on you, you know, or whatever. He didn't do none of that. He was like, look, this how it's going to be. And so my mind was, okay, well then let it be that then. And then we broke up and years later, I actually ran into him, I want to say about 3 years ago. We were both at this place getting our cars fixed. And I saw him and he saw me. He was like, I never forgot you used to sing to me and blah, blah, blah. And so, you know, we're grown now. This was a long time ago. We had the conversation and he was like, you know, I was just a horn dog back then and blah, blah, blah. He said, I still am. I said all that to say that you can really like a guy. Mm-hmm. And there are women who will allow themselves to be coerced because they think if I don't, then I'm going to lose the relationship or he's going to go find it somewhere else. And I'm saying, let them. Because and I know it might hurt. It might hurt because it hurt me for a second.
Itself out.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. But I was very grateful that he was just honest in that moment. Like, well, I'm just going to go find somebody else. But when they do that, they're trying to coerce you. Yes. Don't fall for it. Any man who would do that is not a good guy. He's not a good dude. Please have that in your mind. Yes. Do not forget that. You don't want this man in your life.
Let's just think about it practically. Like, okay, so say you do that thing, but it's like now you've done that with a guy who is like, anytime you don't want to give it to, like, that's your prize, right? Is a man who's going to continuously now coerce you because he knows it worked the first time. So you just have to become the kind of woman that coercion just does not work on, right? Yep. Like, I hate to say that some men will still take it further physically and they won't listen to your words. And that's, you know, that's a societal problem because we don't care about what happens to women up until they get killed. Right? We don't care about the abuse, the rape, nothing, the unconsensual, all this stuff. But we care when a woman gets killed because then she's a perfect victim. Now, finally, she's the only perfect victim, female victim is a dead one. Yeah. A dead one, for real. Because they did not care about, you know, with Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, they did not care that he was like literally Gabby Petito, right? The cops pulled right up on them and they thought that she was the abuser.
Mm-hmm. They put him up in the hotel.
Yeah, because the man was calm and collected. And it's like, that's the abuser. The calm and collected one is the abuser. Always, with Johnny Depp, people read all those text messages where he talked about drowning Amber Heard and like, desecrating her corpse and stuff. And they were like, yes, this innocent man that was abused by a woman can now come forward. And it's like, he's a sociopath.
Yeah.
He's a fucking sociopath. She never even called him out by name. And he said, that was me, but I didn't do it. Like, that's crazy. Y'all We're just, over here defending this man. And I think it's also why, like, men will rail so hard against, like, quote unquote, blue-haired feminists or like women that are not, men will be like, men don't like that kind of stuff. It's because they're so entitled to our consent and to us being something that they can like look at and be turned on sexually. Like they just think that women owe them a certain type of presence. And like, oh, men don't like short hair. I don't give a fuck. Men don't like, blue hair. I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? And it's like, even women who look like conventionally attractive, like can still hate men. Like, I don't really know what the blue hair has anything to do with it, but men are so entitled to like living in the comfort of the male gaze. Like, oh, they just want all women to walk around being like feminine, submissive, having long hair, wearing like uncomfortable clothing, wearing heels. All of that is part of this like non-consensual pipeline. Like,
it is.
Please, like women need to start taking up more space, if anything. Because men feel so entitled to us being small and manageable and coercible that it comes down to just putting women in danger just to get their way, because they're like, no, I'm entitled to this. I'm owed this, and I will pry it out of your hands, out of your body. Like, it's so scary and it's so disturbing. And it's why a lot of women, like even married ones, like content creators in this space, will just be like, just knowing the odds, like just don't do it. Like, it's a very calculated risk every time, regardless.
It is. I even think about like the lingerie industry, and like how we give in to men's fantasies, no matter how depraved they are, and we've normalized it. It's just like, when I can't remember who it was, but somebody was talking about her husband having a fantasy of her wearing a schoolgirl outfit, dressing up with the pigtails and the little plaid skirt.
Like a child.
Yeah, like a child. And she said she didn't like it and she was uncomfortable, but it was her husband, so she had to do what he said because this makes him happy. And it just goes to show how we will...
Like, that's the man you want to keep?
Right, exactly. We normalize the most depraved things just to keep somebody, and it's just like, you know what I mean.
Would a man do that for us?
Because we don't value women.
There's nothing wrong with wearing lingerie. There's nothing wrong with role playing and all that. It's just a point that we are doing it because
doing too much.
We've been programmed to say this is what men like. This is what men want, and it's like. Yeah. And then we get to a point where we might like it because I like to dress up and be sexy or whatever, but it's still under patriarchy. Like everything we do is like under patriarchy, whether we realize it or not. It's like, who came up with
There's no real lingerie for men. Like they get like Speedos and like the little like rhinestones, like the little tiny tight. Is there?
But it's for gay men.
The gray sweatpants.
Oh,
the gray sweatpants.
The gray sweatpants.
The light gray sweatpants.
I almost forgot.
Guilty.
You know what?
Yeah.
But
Ryan might not know about that. Ryan learned something new. Oh, he knows. Yeah, that's my male lingerie, but
Ryan said
like the amount of work the women do to like please men, where we're doing like these twerking classes, we're doing these like exotic dance classes, we're doing these like, I guess I've seen this go around on Twitter. I don't know if it's a real thing, it's just what I saw, but like this like room of women learning how to give oral. Like there would be like a woman there with like a cucumber with a condom on it, and she's like,
I've seen that. Yeah,
and so like, but there's not like
crazy.
a man with like a peach.
Men are just happy anywhere near it.
Like how to like actually please a woman. There's none of that.
I know,
none of that.
I know, Lisa.
too much. We're doing too much.
Seriously, like if a man is having sex with you and it's not about your pleasure first and foremost, I'm sorry, but why are you there? Why are you there?
I totally agree 1,000%.
It's just
it's cringy.
It's cringy.
When I see stuff like that, I'm like, there was another one. It might have been the same woman or a different woman that was teaching women how to ride, and I'm like, shouldn't that come naturally?
No, seriously.
I don't think, how are you learning how to, y'all. I see stuff like that and I just like, so annoyed. Or
where
wife
are
school.
the men? Like nobody's teaching the men how to do anything, how to find a fucking clitoris, without mistaking your thigh for it. Like
I know, right? Or
like rubbing on labia. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who do y'all think would make more money? A woman teaching women how to please a man, or women teaching men how to please women?
Right.
Well, I would want to find out which one is more
because men don't care about pleasing women. That's the thing. It's
they
like
don't,
but they won't sign up for it. Women are the only ones that are so digmatized and brainwashed that they're like, yeah, I need to suck it better. I need to ride it better. Like,
thank you,
dude. He's lucky you're in his vicinity.
So
like,
true, Lisa.
What do you mean? Like, he had to ask 100 women out before your dumbass said yes. Like, what do you mean? And now you're like worried about like his dick. Like, who cares?
And none of that's gonna matter because if a man wants to cheat on you, he's still going to. Like none of that matters.
Exactly.
But that's why it's so cringy because like y'all going through all of this, jumping through all these hoops, bending yourself into 12 pretzels for what? For a man who doesn't even take the time to find out where your clit is.
I'm saying.
He doesn't even take the time to even learn like where your spot is and what gets you going. He doesn't even care.
The orgasm gap.
He's just ready to dive in. Yeah, exactly.
And that's part of this consent problem too. That is part of the consent problem. If a man is not like worried about getting you off, if it's not like a priority, if it's not like as important and as happening as often as like his little stuff, then what is the point for you? Like, why is he even there? You know what I mean?
Why
like,
does he exist?
You can just use a toy.
Mm-hmm. There is that correlation in the orgasm gap between, you know how like porn ends after the man does what's called like the money shot, but there's none of that for us. Like women don't get what's called like a money shot or whatever. That contributes to that whole orgasm gap because sex only ends after he's got his and like after he's got
his. And he doesn't care if you had to hang from a chandelier upside down. You know what I mean? He doesn't care if you had to get into like, like 189 different positions. Yeah. Like, no, as long as he finishes. But then they'll be like, well, it's just an unreasonable expectation. It's just so hard. Every woman's different. What the fuck? You mean like every man is the same?
Yeah.
Every man is the same? No, every man is addicted to a different type of porn, or every man is like has a different kind of death grip that you got to try to learn to imitate. Like, that's disgusting.
And that's not the reason why I'd be so quick to say that man don't love her. This man don't love you. He don't even care. He doesn't even care to learn anything about what you like, what you don't like. And so I just hate that women are so easily willing to give their consent, even when it's coerced or when you're giving it to a man that doesn't even care anything about your pleasure. Anything about, does he even know how you like your eggs cooked in the morning? Does he even know what your favorite color is? They don't care about any of this. And you're just sitting there wondering like, oh, if I don't give him what he wants, then he's not going to like me. He already doesn't like you.
You can go. Exactly.
He already don't like you. He don't give a fuck about you.
Like, that's it. He already doesn't like you.
I blame a lot of those like old teen magazines for that shit, or like Cosmopolitan, or like
absolutely
Tiger Pop or whatever,
100%.
where they were telling women that like if it's so good, he's not going to want to leave you. If it's like be so desirable,
how to get him to commit.
Like, get him to stay and all that shit. And it's just like, how
to give him the best blowjob he's ever had. How to get him to only have eyes for you and all this other stuff. Like, I remember those magazines, and I always thought like, why do we like? I didn't know it was a patriarchy. I didn't know what that was back then.
Right.
But I knew something was wrong with that. Like I knew something. I'm like, why do we got to do all? Like, why is it us that got to do all of this?
There's no like, Rolling Stone magazine or like a man's magazine. And I don't know if Rolling Stone's a man.
Absolutely.
I'm just using an example.
Right. I know what
there
you're
are no
saying.
like men's magazines that teach men how to please a woman.
Or whatever.
Talking about how to eat a woman.
None of those types of articles. How to keep a woman.
None of that.
How to be a good husband.
None of that. Because God forbid that we be entitled to sexual pleasure, right? Because once again, this is what entitles men to sexual pleasure. They're like, well, women have all of these things that tell them how to suck a dick properly, And it's like, yeah, well, men don't. And that's why it's like, why are we even having sex with y'all if you're not concerned?
I remember even reading articles in like Cosmopolitan and all those showing women the positions that you need to be in order to get an O. Like it's still taking the responsibility off of the man and saying, well, you know, you can get out and you can do reverse cowgirl and arch your back this way and twist and turn that way, and then you'll be able to. It's like the men are still getting like they have no responsibility. Like you still have to twist yourself into pretzels in order to get your own organ, which is fine. I mean, but it was just a point that
if it works,
even in that case, they were saying that the men.
Men are helpless.
Yeah, they're helpless, and we are supposed to do every fucking thing.
Just to keep a man like a man. A man. I repeat, a man. Like the thing that yells at you from across the street. Okay, the butterball turkeys. The turkeys.
The butterball turkey lovers.
That is what you're fighting for. You're over here bending yourself into a pretzel for that. For a man who literally is like...
strapping yourself to a bear trap. Sorry.
Oh my God.
But yeah, like,
no, it's so true.
Don't do it.
That's exactly
the hidden
what
part. Yes.
Yeah.
Is the hidden part of this all is that a man is a prize. Like we devalue women by putting men on the prize pedestal and saying that this is what it takes to keep a man, What does it take to keep a woman? You know, like what does it take to get a woman off? Men don't know and they don't care. So ladies, it's time to start acting the same way.
You know, women have more opportunities to like cheat and leave a man than men do, because like women always get like approached by men whether we want it or not, and so like there's always these like
women don't.
micro opportunities to like do some crazy shit if we wanted to, if we really wanted to. But there's nothing that, you know, teaches men that like, you know, she's, you know, a woman and has wandering eyes, and, you know, you should really learn how to keep a woman because, you know, all these other men are going to be better than you. All these other men are
gonna,
true. You know, holler at her from the gas station.
Yes.
And yeah, and it's
nobody cares.
It's never on men to like. And it's like, even if like other men are taught, you know, to be like, because they deep down know that they are competing with other men, or that's what they think. When they, you know, try to get a woman's attention, they think that their competition is other men. So in that logic, you would think that, you know, there would be a lot more spaces or a lot more things teaching men how to keep a woman, how to get a woman's attention, how to do this, how to do that. But in ways that like, I guess not are, you know, car salesman-y about it, or like, you know, manipulative about it, or, you know, these like podcast bros that teach men how to be coercive,
nag a woman into submission. Yeah, for sure.
It's just the blind leading the blind.
A man that actually is the prize sees you as the prize, and he would never call himself the prize. Any man who calls himself the prize is automatically trash.
Yes.
So just save yourselves the drama. If he thinks he's the prize, that means he's going to devalue you. And the last thing you want is to be dealing with a man in a relationship, married or whatever, with a man who thinks he's better than you. Like he's more of a prize than you. Why would you ever want to be with somebody like that? But men who are actually good, decent men would never, ever say, I'm the prize. Like that's just not,
it's not
in their vocabulary.
True. Yeah.
It's not, and they just don't think that way because they see the value in women. Yes. They would always say a woman is, and not them.
And that's a perfect note right there to wrap this up on. Thank you, ladies. I think those were like really good closing thoughts on both of your parts. As always, let us know what y'all think in the comments. We know you will, regardless of if we ask you or not. So let us know what you think. Let us know, you know, your experiences, whatever you want to share. But yeah, moving forward, please just remember that a man is not a prize, and that you are in no way, like as a woman,
obligated,
exactly. Like no matter what society says, no matter what it is, you are a human being just the same, you know? And the only people that are not acting like human beings is people that want you to put your needs, your safety, your priorities aside for the pleasure of their pee-pee. That's inhumane, right? And that's why they're out here doing stuff to turkeys, because it's all about their pee-pee.
Not their pee-pee.
Don't you be all about their pee-pee either, okay? We love you, ladies. We'll be right back with the mailbag.
All right, and we're back, guys. So today we have a mailbag, and this one is kind of a tough one. So let's read it and see what we got. So, hey, Audacity team. I love your content. Thank you for bringing all of your insights into this podcast. I would like to recommend a topic of discussion: misogyny in gay men. As a newly out queer woman, I latched onto LGBTQ clubs and bars, only to discover that most of them are made up of gay men. Wanting to be a part of a community, I still showed up and did my part in supporting the local scene. Thankfully, I also quickly became a part of several friend groups and formed a lot of great memories I'll always cherish. However, I am officially burnt out. Of course, this is not about all gay men, but so many ringleaders of groups came with so much misogynistic and outright narcissistic baggage. There are 3 men in particular who were just as toxic, if not worse, than the straight men I've previously dated when I was closeted. I thought I was set free after I decentered men, but it turns out that I did not get that far. Though they did not know one another, the 3 men all followed the same pattern, invited me to be part of their friend group, but then attached to me like I'm their partner. They wanted me to be at all of the outings with them, front and center. I found the attention flattering at first as I felt very included, but the moment I didn't show up for whatever reason, they would get mad. I've had my phone blown up when I generally couldn't get to it for 2 hours. I've been accused of ignoring them or growing distant when one of them literally said this, and I was even expected to pose on the arm of one of them during a group photo shoot while his husband just watched. All of it was very unsettling and confused me a lot. I could not understand why they acted like the straight men who pursued me before. After a lot of processing and further observations of their actions, I came to the conclusion that they were misogynistic. Despite having no interest in me as a partner, neither romantic nor sexual, they exhibited the same patterns as straight men because they viewed me as an object of other desires. They wanted me around because their goal was to exploit my conventional attractiveness and extroverted personality. It amazes me how misogyny knows no bounds. Straight, gay, bi men are socialized the same way and will adhere to patriarchal systems unless they do their part to deconstruct.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, I concur.
I mean, the answer is kind of within the question.
It is.
But yeah.
Right. I think you just answered your own question at the bottom there because I do think that even if you are gay, you still kind of, as a gay man, you still kind of grow up with these like socializations of men around you, or because like maybe for a while you didn't come out, and so you still grow up with these like you grow up with hearing the same things as straight men, or like the same socialization as straight men got, more or less. But I'm speaking as like know, a straight woman, so you're
still a man, you just have a different sexual preference. Your mind is still, you're still a full-fledged man, but your sexual preference is just not the norm, or it is the norm, but you know what I mean? It's not considered what they would say was normal. That's it. That's the only difference. But she did answer her own question. It's going to be misogyny no matter what, even amongst women. A lot of women have a lot of
I was going to say, it's the same reason it's the same phenomenon as like male-centered women. Like, if anything, it's probably more common because, I have a gay friend and he always talks about like the misogyny is rampant in that a lot of men will be like, oh, mask for mask. Like, they're like, they don't want the femme gay men. They don't want, they're misogynistic in that they don't want to be seen with somebody who has feminine qualities or is not afraid of their own feminine qualities, right? It's not like men get these feminine qualities from women. We all have them, right? It's just that most men cut their supply off to their quote unquote feminine side, whatever you want to call it. They just cut off the oxygen supply to certain things like emotions, like, self-care, like self-love, all those things. They cut off the supply and then they act like they don't have that side. And they're like, no, I'm just a normal guy. I'm just a normal guy looking for another normal guy. And it's like, no, you're just misogynistic. Like, the fact that you would never want to be seen with somebody who is femme, it's like
weird.
Yeah, it's like you're not just
even
like
comfortable with yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And there's nothing wrong with like preferences, right? But it's like even gay men can spot it that like a lot of this is just misogyny because whenever, because it's not just about the anatomy that you enjoy. You also enjoy other aspects of the presentation, right? Yeah. Because if it was about anatomy, then who cares? Who cares how a man is presenting? Who cares how another gay man is acting or presenting themselves? But it's not about that. It's about being able to hold on to your privileged status as a man's man. That's what it's about.
Another thing I would suggest is that maybe find some different types of gay men friends because they're not all like that. And I grew up with quite a few gay guys that were, I wasn't going to say they're more like women, but they've done the deconstructing, I would say. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And so they understand the part they play having a misogynistic mindset, and they see women as people. So that's the bottom line. Get some gay male friends who see women as people. That's your best bet. Because, this whatever was going on at these clubs, whatever, they sound like a nightmare to be around, whether they're gay, straight, bi, whatever. Gay men who absolutely see women as human, who treat everybody with respect, who have undone the misogynistic shit and all. They've done the work. They fucking exist. I promise you they do. You just have to find them. And probably hanging out at gay bars and stuff is probably not necessarily the best place to find them. When you find them, maybe y'all can get together and go to the bar as friends, but you've already have your friends established. But I wouldn't recommend finding them there. That's just my own personal opinion. Join a book club.
Yeah,
I don't know, something productive, something that,
because you will find that those men still bond over misogyny.
Yeah,
they do. They do. They just it's packaged differently. It's not like
they do.
Yeah, but it's more like calling people bitches, like saying stuff like
they tear other women
catty,
down.
They
look at your outfit and they'll just like tear you down for that, or like they look at these like
they really hate you because they ain't you.
Jealous of.
Yeah, they hate you because they ain't you. You have those. You just gotta find. It's hard, but you gotta wade through and find the ones that see you as human. Like
everyone's affected by misogyny. That's why we get also a lot of questions about how do I spot male-centered women? Like how do I get away from like male-centered women? It's because like everything through and through and through, like more people than not in any environment that you go to, right? More people than not will be misogynistic. We'll just not like women because that's what we're all taught to do. We're taught to not like women. We're taught to be like, oh, that's girly. Oh, that's stupid. Are you crying like a girl? Or are you going to put on makeup? Are you going to go do your nails? Like all that kind of stuff. Yeah, you're emotional.
Are you on your
so
period?
Sensitive. Are you on your period? Exactly. Yeah. And so gay men will use, some gay men will use those kinds of insults against each other. And it's like, how do you not see that that's misogyny? Like, that's crazy.
I stay away from those types too, by the way. Like the ones that say those types of things, they are typically jealous of women in general, and they really want to be you, and they're mad that they can't be. Stay away from those types. I'm telling y'all, find the gay guys that are like, they see you as human. Like that's really, once they see you as human, everything else falls into place. Some that are, they're smart, they're educated with this stuff over here. They want to include people. They care. They care for animals, whatever. I don't know. You can find them somewhere, but just not in the classic misogynistic places like clubs and bars and, where they go to exploit each other. Just, they exist.
Yeah. And I was going to say that a lot of women who are still kind of male-centered and they have all these gay friends, they often just give them a pass to act misogynistic and 100%. Crazy. And so a lot of these gay men, continue to go throughout their lives not getting checked by these women that they should be getting checked by when they say misogynistic or crazy things. Yeah, they're enabled. They're enabled by, women who still are, very male-centered with the male gaze, and they prioritize having a male gay best friend. And that is above everything else. So I just think that it comes from that kind of place as well, where too many women are not checking gay men for saying misogynistic or crazy shit. And I think if more women were able to stand up to them and just be like, hey, whatever you just said, like, that's not cool. Or like, please stop, don't tear that woman down. And I just think that there's a level of accountability that needs to be had with us as women whenever we hang out with gay men or in these gay spaces.
I agree.
And it's not always safe. And you just have to realize that as a feminist, awakened woman, most of your life is going to be spent vetting and then cutting people out of your life. Like that is the hardest, advice to have to give. But having lived it, it's like you're going to end up with like 3 friends if you're very lucky, if you're very, very lucky. And most of your, allies and supporters will be other women in the feminist spaces. And honestly, I would have felt a lot more comfortable and confident saying that a couple months ago than I do now, because also those women will like be weird and turn on you and will start pointing fingers because you're not feminist enough, etc. Like that does happen too. And so even those women need to be vetted and cut out of your life if they're going to act like that, because it's only so far that we can go saying, oh, well, guys have bro code and women need to support women and stuff like that. And it's like most of your life as an awakened, feminist woman, you're going to just be cutting people out. Yep. You're going to realize how unsafe you are in this world, and like how few people actually want to see you thriving. People that call themselves your friends, your lovers, your boyfriends, whatever, they don't want to see you thrive at the end of the day. Only when it's convenient for them. When it stops being convenient for them, they will just let you go, or like they will just start abusing you. That is what it is, to get what they want. So it is a very pervasive problem. And that's what I've realized, like, as the more women we've had writing in about male-centered women, about the LGBTQ community, especially men in that community, it's very disheartening. And that is just the facts of life.
You just made me think of a recommendation when you said women are going to spend a lot of their times cutting people off in their life. The Art of Detachment. I recommend that people read into that. And like, a lot of people run from that because they're like, detachment, we're social creatures. We're supposed to all be one. And, we're not meant to travel this world alone. And it's like, I never believed that. Like, I do believe we're social creatures, but it doesn't mean that you have to shackle yourself to people. Because
or like societal expectations.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, we came into this world by yourself. You leave it by yourself, regardless to how you want to look at it. And so I'm just one of those people that's really big on detaching yourself from the outcomes or other people's. You can't control other people. So don't attach your brain or the way you think or your decisions to other people, because you have no control over what other people do at all. You can think you do, but you're going to drive yourself crazy trying, but you're never going to have control over someone else. And so that's the part that I think a lot of people, they run from that, especially on my channel when I have these topics about being an introvert and how I'm like not as attached to people. They said, that sounds so sad and it sounds like a lonely life. And it's like, no, you're going to have to come to this realization whether you like it or not, sooner or later. You're not leaving. Nobody's getting out alive, and you're not leaving with anybody anyway.
Otherwise, you're living in delusion and exposing yourself to dangerous people.
Literally.
So
yeah, you're going to be spending a lot of time cutting people off. You are, because I mean, and it's for your own sanity. Yeah, it's for your own safety, sanity. I mean, people, you cannot control other people. Okay, like, no matter what you do,
keep your circle small.
Yes,
and learn to control yourself.
Absolutely,
that's it.
Perfect.
All right, let's read these poll results. Thank you, Sovereign. Okay, so last week we spoke about the Diddy case and how that was. Most of the charges were dismissed. The question was, when powerful men face serious abuse allegations against women and still walk away mostly unscathed, it makes me feel. A, exhausted. It's another reminder that the system was never built to protect us. B, numb. I'm so used to this by now, I barely react anymore. C, furious. I'm tired of seeing women hurt while powerful men get a pass. And D, afraid. If this is what happens publicly, what hope do the rest of us have? All of the above needs to be an option because, this is fucking dark.
All of them. I think I'm more so detached because I'm burnt out on it. I think that's, numb. That's the word. I think I'm more so numb to it, unfortunately.
I hate admitting that because I want to fight. I really do. Like, I really think that, instead of just laying down and accepting defeat, I think we should be rallying behind our collective feelings of oppression and sadness and anger and fear and all these like emotions that we're feeling as women. We should be coming together. But that's going to be in my blog, or that was going to be the message I wanted to like put out there though.
I think we should do that, but stop when it starts to be detrimental to your mental health.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's also like we're not considering the fact that during, for example, like my generation or during like the time that I've been alive, we have had like rights taken away. Like we went from like getting more and more rights as women to all of a sudden like we're slowly making a U-turn, and that feels really unsettling. Like you're like, wait, so it's not just a forward progress all the time. It's not like things are just going to keep getting better. It's like things have the potential to get worse at any point in time. So a lot of women, the answers were torn between exhausted and furious. And it's like, so I know that that's what we're all feeling. And then feeling like tired and numb and like, you know, all of that is just the products of these two things. Like numb and afraid is a product of feeling exhausted and furious. All of those things are justified because we're watching the patriarchy. We're watching it like turn against us, you know, every single day. And it is very, very upsetting. So please stay safe out there. Please check out Gwen's blogs. She's going to be posting a blog about, you know, where we currently, well, actually, Gwen, do you want to kind of advertise it? So I don't butcher
you know what? I originally was going to, you know, paywall it, but I'm going to make it free. So if you just like hop onto our Patreon, it's going to be pinned at the top and it's going to be free for you to read. So our VIP, of course, will have early access to it just because like it's that VIP status that anyways. So it's just a message that I think women should take to heart, that instead of us, you know, fighting with each other and, you know, putting this on this like impossible standards type of pedestal, we should just be rallying around this like collective sadness and anger and fear that we feel towards the patriarchy, and putting that action towards restoring Roe. I think that's just what needs to happen, because if without Roe, like we are so scattered, we are so lost, we are stumbling in the dark,
like
looking for
things have been going downhill since.
Ever since.
Yeah. So like, because more and more things are just going to be returned back to the states, and the states will almost always rule against us. So I think having Roe was that bit of protection that protected all these other laws from being returned back to the states. So things like gay marriage, things like interracial marriage are all now also going to be on the chopping block, along with birth control and along with marital rape, or things that were originally no fault divorce and things like that. All these things that was originally protected kind of under Roe, because under Roe there was this bit of interpretation of it that it's a federal protection, and now without Roe there's no federal protection.
It's a privacy rights protection.
Yes. So that these are all things that are coming. So, and I hate to be an alarmist about it, but I just seeing what I've seen, like I think it's all, but it's a win, not if.
We've been saying this since last year too, especially after since Roe fell. You know, I'm like, well, y'all know this is just the beginning. Oh, no, it's not. That's never gonna happen. Well, didn't nobody think this was gonna happen? But here we are.
Here we are.
And so, you know.
It was only ever us listening anyways. So the ones that need to hear this are not going to hear it. But our audience is smart. Attention. And I know you're going to read this blog, and I know you're going to see where I'm coming from, and you're going to be solution oriented about this instead of whatever the fuck that's been going on. That's my hope anyway. So
exactly.
Help me think of some ways we can restore Roe, because I really want to see this action forward.
All right. Well, thank you, ladies. Once again, stay safe out there, and we love you all. Check out the socials. Follow us anywhere that you want to follow us, and definitely make sure you check out the Patreon and check out Gwen's blog. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.